Hello, welcome once again to Life Lessons 360. It's so great to have you here on the channel again today. Here at Life Lessons 360, we go ahead and talk about great stories that bring about life transformation, not only enabling you to thrive, but excel in every area of your life, be it personally, professionally, and more importantly, spiritually. And today I would like to share with us something that has helped me as a person over time. And I wouldn't give it a particular name, but there are some certain traits that over the years I've had to learn to adjust. I've had to learn to let go. I've also had to learn, how to, undergo. So one of the traits on top of my list is learning how to avoid assumptions. It's funny because someone put it this way, someone said assumptions are the architect of misunderstanding. And assumptions puts you in a position where your perception necessarily may not be reality. It's just your own perception. And sometimes these perceptions are built from a place of fear, a place of imagination, and sometimes even past experiences. And so you dump your assumptions on maybe on your relationships or the person you're with or people, and you think that your assumptions are right. And the moment you take up a certain assumptive position, it governs how you behave towards a person. And I've seen it in my marriage towards my wife. Sometimes I have these assumptions over certain things, and before you know it, my emotions goes from 100, down to 0. And so I've, over the years, learned to, rather than give assumptions a role, I rather seek for clarity. Ask questions, just to have that template of clarity so that you can make proper decisions. I've had to pull back on assuming, and then maybe instead of assuming, I'm just like, okay, so give me some clarity so that I could get things into the right perspective. So one of the things I've learned, top of my list, is really assumptions. Another thing I've learned over the years that has helped me as a person is that I've learned to the place of forgiveness. That is so profound because I realize that when you have a lot of baggage in your mind, you really can't think straight. Okay. And the thing about forgiveness, sometimes it's not that you have to forgive because you are wrong. Sometimes you just have to respect the fact that forgiveness gives room. It's like I respect the offended person enough to apologize so that the relationship takes preeminence over my own ego. Because sometimes it's like, what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong, so why should I apologize? No, that's not the case. Over the years, I've learned that even when you are not wrong, for the sake of preserving a relationship, for the sake of moving forward, you don't necessarily have to be right in order for you to apologize. You don't necessarily have to be wrong for you to apologize. You can even be right, the other person is wrong, but I've learned over time to put apology ahead of my ego. It's still not something that is easy, but I've learned over time that, listen, in order to preserve your relationship, you need to put out there forgiveness and not just your ego, because your ego can actually stand in the way. And something that would have just been preserved and the journey continues, you just destroy it because you're trying to hold on to your rights. Another thing I've also learned over the years, which is number 3, is that I've had to redefine what appreciation really means. To appreciate or honor someone. Now, appreciating or honoring someone doesn't necessarily mean that the person does not have flaws or weaknesses, but you appreciate something of intrinsic value in the person. And so someone may not be getting everything right, but you give the person honor and appreciation because you recognize that in spite of the flaws this person has, there is an intrinsic value that the person is giving forth. And so you recognize that and you appreciate it. So many a times people could maybe you could be offended with someone and all of a sudden that's the only thing. You don't feel the need to do anything. You just like, I beg, this person should just day your day, I day my day. But that's not what honor is about. I mustn't even like you to honor you. That's the funny thing, because honor really doesn't have anything to do with liking someone. Honor is just like, I recognize value in you and I want to honor the value that you are bringing forth or you're giving forth. Okay, so that's something else that I learned, and I'm still learning along this journey of life. And another thing I've learned is the power of gratitude. And it's so amazing. Why this is so amazing is because gratitude is not just, the thing with gratitude is that gratitude recognizes what is working, not what is missing. Because many a times we can focus on what is missing and then we lose out on our sense of gratitude. But when you focus on what is working, you realize that you can begin to appreciate even very tiny little details. Just, it's working, I'm going to appreciate this. And in the course of focusing on what's working, it bridges the gap of what's missing. Gratitude doesn't focus on what's like, it's more like it focuses on sufficiency, not emptiness. So rather than me spend time and like look at little details of errors, mistakes, and this, I'll look for, okay, what is working in this relationship? What is working in this business? What's working in my life? What's working? And I begin to appreciate those things and have a sense of gratitude for what is working. Sometimes where there is an absence of gratitude, you find yourself under unusual self-imposed misery. You just feel miserable because you feel everything should happen in bulk. Some things don't happen in bulk. They happen in chunks, little chunks. So in your relationship, in your work with people, it's important that we focus on what's working and not what's missing. Okay. Another thing I've learned is also the place of getting rid of negative energy. I mean, it's something I had to learn. I'm still learning, getting rid of negative energy, because many a times negative energy comes from people, it comes from places, and it comes from things. And so a lot of times those things, they don't empower you. They reinforce a sense of weakness, a sense of dissatisfaction. And so not everybody around you, you need to like work on having a tight circle of those who are closest to you. And sometimes even the location where you find yourself may not be the best. It's just like you're in a place where you're not celebrated. A wise man once said that you cannot function where you're not celebrated. If you go to a place where you're tolerated, the best of you would really not be able to function or manifest itself. So it's important that you get rid of negative energy. And negative energy, sometimes it's not just, sometimes you find negative energy in conversations. Some people come to you and what they are breathing down your neck is so negative. And the funny thing is that the brain doesn't even know the difference between what is reality and what is imagination. The centers in the brain respond the same way. So even if it's real, it responds. If it's not real, it responds. And so this negative energy, you need to curtail it. Curtail what you hear. Curtail what you see. Curtail where you are or where you go to, because over the years, I've realized that sometimes you come back and you're just drained. You're just drained because you've exposed yourself to a lot of negativity. Sometimes if there's an argument and it doesn't really, it's not going to yield any results in the immediate moment. Sometimes you could just say, okay, could we get back to this much later? Because these things are negative energy. Some people have a way of just pushing your buttons, making you feel very, very uncomfortable. And you have to have a way of, diffusing or de-escalating the situation, because these things, it kind of cage you and you may not be able to think productively. So these are the things I've over the years, There are many more, but I think these particular ones have helped me over the years improve my character, learn to be better, and help me in my relationship with people. So I don't know about it, but there are certain things that you could put in place, certain structures you could put in place to enable you become a better person, to enable you become more productive, proficient, and also great at what you do. God bless you.